Point of order, Yvette Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given the seriousness of these allegations, and you will have heard the considerable concern in the House about this and the impact that it has on our democracy, given that this Parliament is about to dissolve and some of the members who have been affected by this are standing down, would he use his influence to urge the Home Secretary to come to the House and to be able to contact members directly to give them clear answers about the two key issues that are unanswered, about the scope of the inquiry to make sure it can get to the truth about these allegations, and also about the transparency and access to individual files for members. Given the gravity of this and the timing, I apologise for making this point of order, but with Parliament about to dissolve, I do think we need far more answers directly from the Home Secretary today.
I will respond to the Right Honourable Lady, but not before I've heard the Honourable Gentleman for Somerset and Frome. Point of order, Mr. David Heath.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker, further to that point of order. You will have heard, Mr. Speaker, the exchange between myself and the Minister for Policing. Given the importance, I think, of these matters for parliamentary privilege and for future parliaments and future members who sit in this place, can you give me your assurance, Mr. Speaker, that far from just simply waiting for the inquiry to take place and looking at the results of that inquiry, that parliamentary authorities will be fully engaged with the inquiry throughout, so that we can be absolutely sure that where it affects members of this House and former members of this House, we are aware of the circumstances and can take appropriate action.
Order. I'll come back to the Honourable Gentleman. On the same point. Point of order, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn.
To the point of order raised by the member, will the inquiry also be telling us whether or not any authorities in this House were contacted at any time to put members' offices under surveillance or members' phones under surveillance during that period, and who actually knew about it in the House if that is the case?
Whether or not officials were informed members were surveilled or not, so no doubt this could be discussed.
Let me first of all explain that I'm taking these points of order untypically now rather than later because they spring directly out of the business with which we have just been dealing. In relation to the last point from the Honourable Gentleman, the member for Islington North, the short answer is that I don't know, but I feel that I should be made aware, and inquiries can and will be made. In response to the Right Honourable Gentleman, the member for Somerton and Frome, I think I can offer him the assurance that he seeks. And in response to him and to the Right Honourable Lady, the Shadow Home Secretary, perhaps I should just say this, because I think it's at least as strong as is sought and possibly stronger. I have no doubt that the permanent authorities of the House, the Clerk and Speaker's Council, will not wait to be asked, but will proactively take steps to ensure that the concerns of the House are fully understood by Lord Justice Pitchford and his team. This is an extremely serious matter. Point of order, Mr. David Winnie.
I don't believe reference has been made so far to the promise made by Harold Wilson when he was Prime Minister that the telephone conversations of members of Parliament would not be intercepted in any way. Can we work on the assumption, bearing in mind what has come out, that this continues to be the position? Because if the position of members of Parliament have been undermined in the way we've been dealing with today, we don't know whether the pledge given by Harold Wilson at the time continues.
I don't really feel, in response to the Honourable Gentleman, there's anything more that I can add. I think there's a sense in which his point of order contains a rhetorical question, because, he's aired his concern, and that concern is very widely shared. I'm not in a position today to allay that concern, but I think it's very clear that it's a concern from the Chair, on behalf of the House, that I share 100%. This matter will not go away. We must move on very shortly, but point of order, Mr. Paul Flynn.
There's pressing reasons why this point of order has to be taken now, and it's one I move with great reluctance. I overheard, and so did several other people, an honourable member of this House say that he'd been instructed by a Deputy Speaker on speaking in the procedure debate that's coming later on, and what kind of speech to make. Can we ask that whoever is due to chair that debate is asked whether there's any truth in the claim made by the honourable member, in order that we can make sure that the impartiality of the chair is preserved.
I'm grateful to the honourable gentleman for his point of order. I'm not aware of those matters beyond what the honourable gentleman has just said, but suffice it to say that I'm in the chair, and I'm intending to remain in the chair. Today, and I hope subsequent to today. And I hope the honourable gentleman, whom I esteem greatly, will not doubt my competence or fairness in chairing such proceedings of the House as take place today. I'm not going anywhere. Point of order, Mr. Barry Gardiner.
Further to the original point of order from my right honourable friend, could you advise me, Mr. Speaker, as to whether it is within your power or whether it is the power of the House to call to the bar the previous Metropolitan Police Commissioner to answer questions arising out of today's debate?
It's not possible to do that without notice. Lots of things are possible with notice in the next Parliament. But the answer to the honourable gentleman in respect of the here and now is no. If there are no further points of order, perhaps we can now move to the urgent question from Diana Johnson.